she has no one sitting on her lap. She's in a row with 3 people. One of them wearing a white headband. Somebody sat down right in front of her. So, go up to the top section.
Top section.
Top section, second row.
I see her. Yeah. Not in the front.
Yes.
Sounds good. Well, you know, we have more seats in the church. Because without closing it,
Yeah, no, well, that's the other thing. Here I can make it close in.
right. Plenty of seats in the front.
Good afternoon. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Music Convocation. Hello. There we go. Yeah, thanks for getting here early and getting a seat. We're going to have probably about 40 people downstairs in overflow. So on these days where we're all together, this is how it's going to be. The ID card scanners are still being worked on. So I hope you all saw the QR codes to scan for today. For next week, I'm planning to be back to Carolina cards, though, because it's just a lot better way for us. So please do make sure that you bring your Carolina card every Friday still, because unless something's wrong with the scanners, we will be using those. So if you have any issues with Blackboard, if you look in and you know you were present and you don't see your point, please let me or Veronica know so we can fix that. If you're in 100A, you will get points for attending last week as well. So they may not be in there yet, but they will be probably by the end of today. So if you're not in 100A and you see like a 0 for the 100A, don't worry about it. You're not required to do that. It's not a problem. You just need the 10 total by the end of the semester. So let's get started. First up, we have your dean, Dr. Taylor Harding.
Welcome back, everybody. I would ask the seniors in here to raise their hand, but you know who you are, so don't bother raising your hand. I have two comments to make. One is about 100A. Unfortunately, I was not here 2 weeks ago when we opened school and you were all in here. Normally, I have a welcome and a greeting, and I say then what my second announcement today will be. But I couldn't be here there that day, and I couldn't be there last week either when 100A met for the first time downstairs. So I don't know my 100A students yet, but I will get to know you really well beginning on the 29th of September when 100A gathers again downstairs in 006. So that's the first announcement. The second is, and you've heard me say this before if you've been in this class before, but it deserves saying every term, and I'm reminded every single year how badly this needs to be said, and that is, at the end of every semester, you will have an opportunity to fill out an evaluation form online for that course and that teacher in that course. I read every single one of those. From May 1st to about July 1st, I evaluate faculty in individual meetings, 60 of them through that time. And what you have written in those evaluation forms plays a major role in my conversations with faculty, not only about their teaching, but about their courses. So it's incredibly important for you to give us your feedback. Most of the time that feedback is either really critical or really supportive, and that's great. If we can get those, that's great, because it really makes a difference. But I also want you to feel motivated to fill those out, even if you don't have feelings on either end of that spectrum, and you have a lot of interesting and fun things to say about the class, but you also have some criticisms, and they're well-meaning, and it could be about the class or the teacher. Anything you want to say about the course experience you've had, we are urging you to please take time online to fill that out. For this course, for every one of your courses. And unfortunately, you're going to hear me do this every single semester that we're together. So have a great fall. It's terrific to see you. I hope feels like a month ago now, but I hope you were able to get some snow cones when we had the free snow cones out front for you. Later in the fall, I think there's something else cool coming up. We have a really amazing football game this weekend, and first home game of the season. The band has a big tribute to the College of Engineering and a whole bunch of cool things happening associated with the game. So if you're not among the 17,000 students that go to the game, watch it on TV so you can catch up with some of the cool stuff. It's going to be a big, big weekend for the band. So thank you very much, everybody. It's great to see you, and have a great semester.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Dubniakovic, and I'm your friendly music librarian. Friendly for the most part, unless you catch me at the end of the day. I'm one of those annoying morning people. So when I was asked to do this presentation on music library, I thought, oh great, 250 students. When does a librarian have a chance to talk to that many people at once? Not that many times. And in fact, since I've been here, which is about 12 years, I think maybe once when I just got here, so it's been a while. And then I started writing a presentation and thinking through this, and I went, why isn't this going anywhere? Why can't I think of what to say? And then I thought, oh, undergrads. So I teach a couple of courses here on information literacy, on how to research white papers, all of those good things, but I realized, oh gosh, those are all for graduate students, so worse. Out of 3 courses that I teach, 2 are for doctoral students. So, and when you get to be my age, I'm in my mid-40s, it gets a little hard to distinguish between undergraduate and graduate students. Everybody just looks young. So when I look around in the library, I can't really tell how many of you are actually in there. One year I thought, oh great, there's a group of undergrads sitting at a table, and then I thought, wait a second, I recognize at least 4 of them, and they've all been in my master's level information literacy course. So then I realized, okay, you're getting old and out of touch. You can't tell anymore who's who. So instead of just talking to you about what the music library has and offers, I'd also like to take this opportunity to maybe learn a little bit about you and how much you know and what you actually do in the library or don't do, as the case may be. And just like Dean Taylor Harding, my purpose here is to improve and tweak maybe some library services so that I can offer maybe something that's a little bit more of interest to you than what you have right now. Because again, I know that this works for master's level students for the most part because I get to talk to every single one of them because all of them have to take my courses. So both on the doctoral and on the master's level. So, this is just not the case for you all. So I'm really happy to be here today. Okay, so how about we start here? So think about this for a second and then raise your hand if you study somewhere off campus, so dorm or anything really other than on campus. Just so I can see what proportion. Okay, so I would say about half of you do. Okay. All right, how about if you study somewhere else on campus, but not in the music library? Okay, so surprisingly low number for me, at least 1/3 of you. Okay. How about those of you who study in the music library? Okay, what? Very low number. Full disclosure, it would be terrible for us if all 250 of you decided to study in the music library because there just simply wouldn't be any room for you. I guess we would have to tunnel through and create some space for you, but I don't know how far we would get with that. So it looks to me that either it's maybe a scheduling issue or that you're taking classes in other places or something like that. That's what I've heard from other people. Is that kind of on the right track, why most of you seem to be studying elsewhere rather than here on campus? Yeah, okay. So I guess I should tell you, for those of you that haven't been to the music library, we're right next door. So if you do happen to be in here and you have maybe an hour free, we do have some spaces for you that are a little bit different than the rest of this building. So if you look at the 2 pictures in the upper left corner, we have some soft furniture, and that's really handy towards the middle of semester when everything hits you at once. That instrument weighs a ton. So, just come in there, take a load off on a comfy couch. I see loads of people just draped at impossible angles in the chairs as the semester progresses. We used to have one of those modular couches upstairs, and at the end of the semester, there would be regularly somebody sleeping up there. So we just turn a blind eye, leave you alone, check on you in an hour, make sure you're still breathing, but we don't bother you at that point because we understand what's going on. Life of a student, music student, is, I always say, extremely difficult. I don't think that the rest of the world understands what you all go through. Even as a composition student, keeping up with all the lessons and everything you have to assimilate with the other classes, and then all of the practicing on top of that, it just astounds me that anybody's able to get through a program like that. So kudos just to making it from year to year is what I say. So take advantage of these spaces if it's convenient for you. Again, don't all 250 of you come. But when you do, yeah, just know that we do have some things for you. We also have a group study classroom upstairs on the second floor, which not many people know about. So sometimes there are small classes scheduled in there, but most of the time it's vacant. So if you're working on a group project or you just want a quiet space to study for maybe 2 or 3 of you, even if it's just 2, it's fine. All you have to do is just check downstairs at the counter and check out a key, and you get to hide upstairs with your study group. There's a TV in there, projection, so if you're working on a presentation or something like that, yeah, you can do that as well. Okay, and by the way, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask at any point. I'll leave 10 minutes towards the end so that you can ask me anything you want to. Okay, so how about this? Raise your hand if you go to IMSLP, or is it known Petrucci Library? Oh, come on. Raise your hand if you do this. Really? Just this tiny little number of you? Okay, I expected that half the audience would be raising their hands. Okay, nothing wrong with Petrucci Library. I wish it was there when I was an undergrad. Saved me a lot of work. Okay, what about a teacher gives you a copy, shares a copy with you? Okay, all right, that's a larger number. What about you buy a copy for yourself? Okay, about the same group. Okay, how about you come to the library and check it out from us? Or download it or something. Okay, an even smaller number. So I'm curious, out of those of you that didn't raise a hand, can somebody volunteer and tell us what they do? Preferably somebody that's a vocalist. Any sopranos in the audience? No? Yes, go ahead in the back row. So, bravo. Not only because you use the library, which obviously I care, I have a vested interest because I have to corral all these people that buy and bind and license all of these things for you, but also because these things cost money and everything adds up. And so anytime we could save you a little bit of time and money, we do. So we're happy to do that. Okay, so numbers. We have about 110,000 of these things bound in the library on the second floor. That's those shelves to the left as you climb up the stairs. But did you know that we also have a lot of this online too, just like the IMSLP? Another question. So raise your hand if you think that the library has more digital scores, so online, than the IMSLP does. Raise your hand if you don't think that. Yes, you're right. We can't even approach what they have. They have about 750,000. We have about 55,000. So obviously not even close. So given that situation and that we actually have to pay for them, why do you think we bother? So 750,000 here, and we have about 55. Why do we do this? Yes? Exactly, yeah. So if you haven't heard that, yeah, IMSLP does not really have all the editions like Vortex, Bear and Writer, and things like that, which we will always have, either in print or digitally like this. The other thing is that copyright protection is really important, to the point where, I don't know if you've experienced it, but 7 years ago, IMSLP was shut down for an entire year for copyright violations. And it wasn't even certain that they would ever come back. And the only reason that they are back is because they managed to corral a whole army of volunteer lawyers. Yeah, you heard it right, volunteer lawyers. To go through every single page and pull everything down that was not in copyright and to just represent them in court free of charge, and it was back, fortunately, the year after. But yeah, if you want something that's in copyright, that's published maybe in the last 30 years or so, then yeah, you would have to come to the library, or you would just download it from one of our databases online. So right now, I have pictures of two databases that we have, and hopefully you know how to get to the Music Library website and take a look at all of the databases that are there. If you don't, it's okay. They're all listed in that master list, A to Z, that is available just from even Thomas Cooper Library. So these are the two main ones that we have. The Alexander Street Press, which is about 50,000 and about another 5,000 in this other series. So the other thing that we have in these is lots of critical content, so essays, performance practice, so how did this edition come to be like this? What is the editorial marking and who did it over time? What was the first performance? How did the audience receive it? And all kinds of things like that, which come very handy not only to historians, but also performers like you. Okay, so what about this? Raise your hand for YouTube. Oh, come on, really? All of you over there don't use YouTube? No? Okay, fine. Okay, what about Spotify? Okay. Apple Music? All right. I love all of those. Yeah, YouTube, fantastic, especially if you are looking for a performance, your friends, or something that's a little bit off the beaten path. Again, I wish I had that when I was an undergrad or when I was a student, period. It would have made my life a lot easier. What I don't enjoy so much is the diaper commercials in the middle of my presentation, or whatever they think I would enjoy hearing about. So if you, like me, don't enjoy those things, then you can use some of the things that we have in the library. So Naxos, does that ring any bells? Raise your hands if you use that. Oh, very few people. So that is an expensive database, so if you all are not going to use it, it doesn't look good here. So it has about 2 million tracks, all classical music. Most of it is accompanied by these booklets that used to be on CDs, if you remember those days. So again, information about when was this recorded, how, a little bit about the piece, all kinds of stuff like that. But most importantly, they do have an app. So if you don't know how to go about downloading that, just go next door to the music library. They'll walk you through it. All you do is just download it. It's free as long as you're a student. And they have a huge catalog of classical music. So if you're interested in popular music, you're listening to jazz, that's not where you should go. But anything classical music, they'll have multiple recordings of pretty much all standard rap and all kinds of other things. So I highly encourage you to use that. What about opera on demand? My singers. Aha! Some people are at least using that. Are you guys enjoying it? Enthusiasm, like it. So it's really a recent acquisition. I was really happy when we were able to make this happen. It has interviews with conductors, so if you're studying conducting, this is also relevant to you. They talk about how did they program this piece, which is usually chorale musicians, all stripes, orchestra, and choruses and singers. Obviously not an easy task, so be on the lookout for those. Those of you who are studying history composition, they frequently also have composers. If it's a contemporary piece, they have interviews with them about the history of the piece, their compositional process. So if you're composition students, this also would be relevant to you. So lots and lots of added content. Okay, what about this? So raise your hands for Google. Yes, I do it too. Raise your hand if it's Google Scholar. Aha. If you haven't heard of Google Scholar, it's just scholar.google.com. It's Google for scholarly research. It's pretty great. That's sometimes where I just start to see what all is available, and better yet, most articles are actually linked to your library subscription. So once you tell them that you're a USC student, they will automatically let you download things from the library. So that works really well. This is what I recommend you also use from the library. It's all online. Your music periodical database is really great. If you're interested in popular music, jazz, you're writing those types of papers. It really has hundreds of thousands of articles. If you are interested in encyclopedic articles that give you thorough background about pieces, musicians, historical periods, instruments, pronunciation, you name it, everything pretty much, that all can be found in Grove Dictionary of Music. And that's also unlimited. You can access it from anywhere, basically. Rhythm abstracts of music, good for everything. It's not just articles, it's also book chapters, it's entries in all kinds of dictionaries, it's even sound recordings these days. You know, they just have them linked so you can listen to them online. So it's pretty amazing as far as the database goes. How about this bottom one, Academic Search Complete? Have you guys used this before? I see some enthusiastic nodding. If you haven't used this, this is a powerhouse. This is so much better than Google. Because when you do a search in Google, even if it's Google Scholar, there's some extra work where you have to figure out how to navigate where to find things. But if you go in here, you're guaranteed to find lots and lots of articles in full text that you could just download and write your paper. It's just that amazing. And better yet, since you're undergrads, I put that on there because it's not just music. In fact, music is just a tiny little proportion of what it has. And what it has is basically everything about everything. Honestly, anytime I've done a search, there was at least something in this database that you could find. So I think, again, given the amount of research and different types of subject areas, this is probably, if you don't take away anything from today, you should remember this database, the Academic Search Complete. Okay. How about this? Interlibrary loan. How many of you know about this service? Oh, this is tragic. It's tragic because this is such a huge potential money saver for you. Because, and I know some people find this difficult to believe, but if you are interested in something, book, I don't know, article, score, recording, anything really, and we don't have it at the library. What we can actually do for you, if you put in this request, you just ask another library to lend it to us. So any library practically in the United States, if they are in this consortium, and I can't think of any that aren't really, you know, it will be just smaller schools that don't have libraries attached to them or something like that. It's a just huge, astounding network of libraries that are attached to this. And I can count on numbers of one hand the times in these last 12 years that I've come up empty where I wasn't able to get something through the service. So if you plan a little bit ahead, so for anything that's tangible that you get to take away with you, so print score, book, that sort of thing, that's going to take less than a week, so maybe 3 to 5 days. We sometimes get requests for stuff even overseas. I've gotten scores from Germany before, you know, where it's a situation, it's out of print, nobody has this thing, and you can't get it from any store. Yeah, if you have it somewhere, even overseas, they can send it to us and we can lend it to you. So, like I said, it's pretty amazing. It's free to all students, free to all faculty on campus, and even to alumni. So if you graduate and you're part of the Alumni Association, you would still have access to this. Okay, so I feel pretty good. If you just remember this, and if you remember the academic search complete, my job here is done. All right, so any questions that you have for me?
So I'll be here to start everything, so it won't be.
Yes.
Yeah.
So not many, but the thing about that is all you have to do is know. You come and say, hey, you know,
Okay.
for this class, and then I'll ask you, hey, are you ready for presentation? The answer is yes.
They're both working, they'll be going out outdoors.
Yeah.
So they need to be somebody down there just to watch with the scan out and make sure they're doing it right.
Uh-huh.
You say, okay, it's a class assignment for
Then
this,
next week,
and, you know, I have to do it, but
Okay.
but I think that
with it,
was
then I'm going to say, okay, I'll try to put, you know, my interlibrary loan.
Okay.
so that means they run everything.
They do everything, yeah.
So you
I helped
have
with
to-
colloquiums last year, yeah.
So you just same as always, just watch everybody scan.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't be here all evening or all day.
Okay.
That's 2 weeks from today. Yes. And then, oh yeah, my rehearsal is at 3:30 and it takes me 2 hours.
2 hours to get there, yep.
2 hours to get there, so I usually start class and then run away.
Okay.
We'll have the
Go ahead and email me, and then I'll help you with that. My email is just ana@mailbox.scu.edu. And I'll ask Professor Mitchell to, if you guys probably have some sort of class email that you could, okay, I'll ask her to also send that so that I can share it with you all. Good question. Okay, any other questions?
Over here.
One spot. Over here. Go ahead.
So for the study room, is there a form that we fill out?
No, it's not formal like that at all. It's first come, first served. You just come downstairs and say, hey, is it available? And if not, you know, when will it be available today?
Okay.
So they can also tell you when the classes are there, but we don't really book anything too much in advance. But if you know you're gonna have a room, say on Friday at 2 o'clock, and there's nothing scheduled there, then you can just say, can you pencil us in so that somebody else doesn't come? Okay, anything else? Great, well, thank you again for listening to me. Hopefully it wasn't utterly boring. I did my best to just give you the
Don't forget there's an exit on that side as well. You can go that way. Make sure you put your name in the survey.